ब्रह्मणे नमः। ॐ महेश्वराय नमः। ॐ विष्णवे नमः। ॐ ताण्डवे नमः। ॐ भरताय नमः। ॐ अभिनवगुप्तपादाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ प्रणम्य शिरसा देवो पितामहमहेश्वरो नाट्यशास्त्रं प्रवक्ष्यामि ब्रह्मणा यदुदाहृतम्।
Now chaturam anchitasyaat karo vamah savyaschatura evatu dakshinah kuttitah padaschaturam tat prakirtitam. Please Bharata.
Yeah. When the left arm is as Anchita and the same hand is Chatura, with the right foot as Kuttita, this is called Chaturam. Here Abhinavagupta takes Anchita to mean Alapallava and
Chatura. Both Chatura.
And he also quotes the definition of Chatura Hasta.
Yes.
The word tu denotes that the hand must be close to the body.
Vakshakshetra dvayoho api alam eva karena sanniveshadhikyam kevalamiti suchyate. Tu.
So the practical reconstruction, Anchita movement is defined in the Natya Shastra as that wherein the arm moves from and to the chest. So Abhinavagupta takes this to be Pallava Nrtta Hasta, to be performed with Chatura Hasta. The movement of the other hand can be taken from the sculptures. The foot performs Udghattita very lightly, which causes the sway of the waist. The waist is raised on the right side with the right heel lifted. The left hand moves outwards and inwards alternately, and the right hand in Chatura form performs the Alapallava action near the shoulder as seen in Kumbakonam and Chidambaram figures respectively. But what is very surprising is the recommendation for this Karana is Vidushaka.
Yes. And
it's such a beautiful
Savismaya Suchadibhi Abhinayadu. But if it is performed with jerks, naturally it will yield for that.
Maybe Mukhaja aspect will change the entire mood.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the same movement can be very, very beautiful, flowy, and very Shringara based.
Of course.
Depends on the face.
As Abhinavagupta says in the 6th chapter, if Anauchitya is brought in any rasa, it will turn out to be Hasya.
Chaturam Jiva, Chaturam Jiva. Chaturam Jiva, Chaturam Jiva.
in the Satara figures we have the Devi's.
Only thing is, in our documentation, we have done only Chatura for both the hands because I have followed the sculpture only. But Abhinavagupta has added Alapallava, so it has to be like this.
Rotation needs to be there.
This rotation has to be there.
That makes it more difficult.
That is even more difficult. One hand keeps rotating, the other one is very linear. One rotation and one linear. So this becomes contrary to each other, and it's more. Inga varave varadu. Inga. It will be like this. So that will be more complicated, but that's one more.
It's like a railway engine. One will be piston will be linearly moving and the wheel will be rotating. That way of connectivity has to
like
be established.
Nikuttatam, we saw that earlier. One hand is Avidavaktra, and the other one just moves as though nothing is happening with the other hand. So this is another challenge. Like that, this goes on and this goes like that. Now this can be a very lasya type of thing. If I do the same thing, it will become
Hasya.
Vidushaka's work. So it depends on the phase and the mood that you produce from the sattva. That is also important. It's just not. Bharata has given detailed vyayama for the eyes, eyelids, brows, lips. I should thank Bharata Muni for not asking us to move the ears. Unless you are someone of Gajagotram, you can't move your ears. But why I am saying is, just moving and saying that this is meant for Shringara will not produce Shringara. That Shringara has to come from your mind. So this simply moving your eyes, sidelong glance alone cannot bring about that love. It has to come from within. Otherwise, it is not Sattvika Abhinaya, it will become just Angika Abhinaya, which is very taut.
Directing.
There will be 10 dancers all doing the same movement for a Vrittam which has no Talam also. Just to say, suppose Krishna ni begane baro, Krishna, you come quickly. Krishna ni you, begane is quickly borrow. Krishna ni begane borrow. This is Angika Abhinaya, finished. Krishna, I add my eye movements. Krishna ni begane borrow. I move my eyebrows. I move my eyeballs, borrow. But I have not asked him to come. My little Krishna will not come with that. So it has to come from within. Krishna ni begane borrow. That's enough. Borrow. You don't even have to have your hands. It's a sattva which is important. So in spite of so much of training of the entire body from Uchamande to Ullangale.
Keshadi Padanta training.
The body training is one thing, but body language alone is not enough. Body language, which is very important for some styles of dances, particularly in the West, which is now being taken as a fashion here.
Dangerous.
It is the primary lesson.
Yes.
Physical expression is primary lesson, but it has to grow with the growth of imbibing what is called a quality where you can feel what is external to you.
So
what is external has to become internal, and what is internal has to become external. Only then there is abhinaya.
You have told body is trained only to forget it.
The body is trained, it's like a swimming exercise. The body is trained to be forgotten about. So, why I am talking so much about this is, Abhinava Gupta has recommended this beautiful Karana for the jester, for the Vidushaka, but it can be used for a heroine also.
Certainly.
Or maybe for a character like Shurpanaka, where it is feigned love.
Shringara Abhasa.
Shringara Abhasa. It can be a feigned Shringara, for which maybe it can be used, but again the Mukhaja aspect has to decide what exactly is to be communicated.
Here the Chidambaram figure has the arms stretched across the chest. So that's why after stretching it out, It is brought in as Karihasta.
I added this Karihasta because of Chidambaram figure.
So the
To take
movement.
the inputs from that sculpture
So-
and have that also in the repertoire.
So
movement
I've
goes-
concluded as Teiya, Teihi, Teiya, Te. And here, out of the Rechaka, which is important, I brought in the elbow movement. Teiha,
More graceful.
Teihi, right? Teiha, Teihi, Teiha, Teihi. So this is how I brought in Rechakas, which Bharata himself says, without Rechakas, Angaharas and Karanas should not be performed.
Here, when you have added these movements of Tanjavur or Chidambaram or whatever, though they are not seen in the text, I remember Panini, Bhagavan Panini, who in his sutras tries to accommodate so many variations, and for that he gives exceptions, other rules. Why Paninian grammar is difficult? Because he was very generous and magnanimous enough to accommodate the Shishta Parigraha of so many people. So many good saints, so many good seers, they were using the language. Though they are variants, they have to be accommodated within this language, Sanskritam. If not, he had taken a mechanical way, the grammar would have become very simple, but you would have lost so many beautiful expressions, beautiful ways of using that language. And this is the real work of a Shastrakara, a visionary.
Thank you.
In Satara, the Devi's figure, right heel is raised, suggesting Udghatita. The right hand is raised between the head and the shoulder in Alapallava. The waist is raised on the right side. The left hand in Chatura is stretched down on its side as an angle. In Shiva's figure, the feet are similar to those of Devi's posture. The left main hand is almost in Karihasta, and the others are raised to show the animation. Bhujanganchita.
Bhujanganchitakam. Bhujangat rasitah pado dakshino rechitah karaha latakhyascha karo vamo bhujanganchitakam bhavet. Vidmula.
Bhujanganchitakam is that in which the right foot undergoes Bhujangatrasita Chari with the right hand as Rechita and left as Lata. Here Abhinav Gupta does not add any significant remark except quoting Bharata for the definitions of the above terms. In the figures, sculptures, all the figures have the right foot lifted and thrown across the left leg
Right.
as a reverse print of Nataraja. Tanjavur figure is exactly the Sundareshwarar Mantri. The right hand is Pataka and the left hand is Karihasta in Tanjavur.
See, in Madurai, there is a big Nataraja. We call it, colloquially he is called Kalmari Adiya Nataraja. Because left leg is what you normally see in all the Nataraja figures. But here in Madurai temple, you will see the right foot lifted. But there is no change on the hands.
Because Abhaya should come from
That is, Abhaya has to come from there. This is becoming more agamic now. From Natya Shastra, you come to the Agama period. But Bhujangatrasita, one interesting thing is, all the Shaiva Agamas give the name Bhujangatrasitam only
Not
for Ananda Tandava.
Oh.
It is not even Ananda Tandava, it is Bhujangatrasita.
Goes by
And
the name
Bhujangat,
Karana.
yes, it takes from the Karana. This is also another proof to say that Agama Shastra borrowed from Natya Shastra. And the Karana and also the Bhujangatrasita Chari has to be performed on both the sides. And here at Tanjavur, you see the version which later the Pandyas took for the Kalmari Adina Padalam in Madurai. There is a story, they say locally it is very popular, during Meenakshi Kalyanam, when Shiva married Meenakshi, everybody there wanted to see. Shiva, you have already danced with your left foot up. We want to see you dancing with other foot raised. So Shiva danced the other way. This is what they say. This is the local story that people have there. But the truth is that Bhujangatrasita Karana can be performed on both sides. But the sculptor had continued the Abhaya Hasta, which has to be on the right. So he has not changed the hand.
Only the leg.
But it's also showing that Bhujangatrasita Karana can be performed on both sides. And Tanjavur figure is a proof for this.
Yes.
Kumbakonam figure has the left hand
Sanchita
as dola, stretched out and right near the chest. The Chidambaram figure has the left raised as Rechita and the right lowered as Lata. So putting all these together, the entire movement goes like this. Tam, tat tak din, tat din, tat ta, itataka tam. Tat tak din, tat din, tat ta.
I've added all that together, all the Karanas together, brought the Avidavaktra added to it because it is Bhujanga.
And also Shiva
It is not mentioned there.
embellished by the serpents.
So he is full of
Serpents, and when they are dancing, they will all be moving.
So I added the Bhujanga element into the Karana, though it is not mentioned.
Bhujanganchitakam. In Satara, Devi's figure shows the beginning of the Bhujangatrasita Chari with the right shank flapped near its thigh and lifted on the left. The right hand is in Lata and the left is in front of the chest, indicating the beginning of Rechita. The next stage in Shiva's figure shows the right shank thrown to the left and the left hand pushed out in Rechita. The secondary hands show the beginning of the movement with the hands near the chest in order to repeat the action. We have Prambanan here. Here the figure 1 is not clearly seen. We have in figure 1 a scene turned towards the left and the left hand is extended on its side. This is above the extended arm of figure 3, which is also wearing a bracelet. Figure 1 has only the left leg. The slab joined on this side does not seem to be the correct one.
Very corroded.
Figure 3 is seen behind figure 2. The right leg is lifted as for Apakranta Chari, which follows the Bhujangatrasita Chari. The left foot is on the ground as Parshva. The left hand is near the chest and the right hand is extended on its side behind the main figure. The face is turned towards the right. The center figure has the right hand near the face and the head is tilted as Anchita. The left hand is in Lata near the knee. Both the hands show Avidavaktra as suggested by the bent elbow of the left arm of the center figure, which is figure 2, as well as by the extended right arm of figure 3, which is also a lowered elbow, which can be inferred from the position of the wrist and the visible palm.
See, the Avidavaktra hand movements that I added is something which came from my own imagination because it is Bhujanga. It is not mentioned in the text. It is not seen in any of our sculptures here. But what was strange was my reconstruction with Avidavaktra is seen in Prambana, which validates my reconstruction.
Wonderful.
Here again we have the animation with the Prambanan and the Satara sculptures. If we put the Prambanan sculpture 1 followed by Satara Shiva, followed by Satara Devi, and then Prambanan sculpture 2, and then Prambanan sculpture 2 also shows a clear animation with those of Chidambaram, Tanjavur and Kumbakonam sculptures. So when we put all these together, we get the entire movement. We have 3 variations of this same Karana. The first one is what we saw. The second variation is the hands are the same, only the legs change. Tak dhin tak dhim tatta kitataka tam. Tak dhin tak dhim tatta.
That is for the chari. Each time the chari is done, one of the types of hand variation is performed.
The next type is where we move forward with the same movement. Tam. Tak dhin tak dhim tatta kitataka tam. Tak dhin.
It's a zigzag movement,
Again,
thinking of the serpent. So these are the variations that I thought of.
Then we shall go to Dandakarichitam. Yes. Vikshiptam hastapadam tu samantad yatra dandavat rechyate tadhikaranam jneyam dandakarechitam.
For the Karana Dandaka Rechitam, the feet and hands are thrown on all directions like the Danda and Rechita Hasta. Here Abhinavagupta advocates the Dandapadachari and the Dandapaksha Nrtta Hasta for this Karana. The practical reconstruction will be Dandapadachari, which is beginning with Nupurapadikachari on the right. The hands are to be in Rechita. The same foot is lifted up either in the front or side as a stick. The respective hand moves in as Dandapaksha. So Nupurapadika with Rechita and Dandapada Chari with Dandapaksha hands. Then the foot is dropped to form the either the Alida if it's on the right, Pratyalida if it's on the left. So when this Alida or Pratyalida is done, the respective hand moves out as Lata. It moves out as Lata and again it's brought in as Kariha. Yes.
But in the original, either in the commentary or in the Sutra of Bharata, we don't have the Vaishnava Sthana. From where you got?
We have it from the sculpture.
We have it from the sculpture, and practically after lifting up the foot, bringing the leg too close to the other one will not give you that not only balance, that force will not be there, vigor of the movement will not be seen. So I'll ask her to perform, bring the leg close after lifting. Lift and bring it close. It will not bring that beauty of the movement, but you land it there, out. You get the
Assertion.
Assertion, the valor is there. And the Nupurapadika is suggested because kinetically taking the leg backwards helps the forward throw.
It gives momentum.
Even a fast bowler takes a few steps backwards before bowling. It is like that. One Nupurapadika helps the momentum for the leg to be thrown up.
Here in Kumbakonam we have the leg stretched, and in Chidambaram the leg is brought in a little. That's why after the Dandapadachari, when we finish the Dandapadachari, you move transfer of weight and then we bring it back, which finishes with what is seen in Chidambaram.
And that also shows the space. Both Kumbakonam and Chidambaram shows the space between the feet.
Yes.
So
Vaishnava.
Vaishnava, Alida,
Yes.
end it as, land it as Alida or Pratyalida and end it as Vaishnava.
Again to show
Actually,
that it is complete.
the Tanjavur sculpture has a twist of the body.
The whole body is twisted.
Second time.
Ah.
So, to bring in this aspect, we have another interpretation of the same movement. Tam tat tak din tat dim tat ta kitataka tam tat tak din tat dim tat ta. So that sculpture helps
This
with
is
one more.
direct from Bharata.
Ah.
So it's a walk.
Yes.
It's a walk of a
All
proud
the limbs
man.
have been extended, Rechita. That's what.
Danda Rechitakam. In Satara, the hands are in Rechita in Devi's figure, with the right shank lifted on the left side behind the left knee. It shows the beginning of the Dandapadachari, that is the Nuprapadikachari. Shiva's figure has the right leg thrown up to its side from Mandala position, with the torso bent on the left. The second right hand is in the Dola position, while the second left is in front of the chest, indicating the beginning of Rechita. The main hands are as Dandapaksha. Later, the foot is to be landed in Anchita, with the right hand moving out in Dola. We have Prambanan here. Only two figures are there. First two figures and the face of the third can be seen. Though the joining is visible, the figure is unclear. Figure 1 has its left foot crossed at the back in Mandalasthana, with the left hand as Karihasta and the right hand as Kunchita near the elbow of the left, which shows the Vyavarta action. The face is turned towards the left and the torso is bent on the right. This whole posture depicts the end of the Nupurapadikachari, after which Dandapadachari has to be performed. The stretched arm also seems to be holding a shield. The right hand is holding a sword. This whole position is reverse of what is seen in the Satara Devi sculpture. Satara animation portrays the lifting of the right leg, and the Prambanan panel shows the movement on the left and right. While the Prambanan figure 1 shows the movement on the left, the main figure, that is Prambanan figure 2, which is in Urdhvajanu posture with the right knee raised in perfect mandala, shows the movement on the right. This is similar to the Satara Devi figure. The side is bent here on the right with the right hand as Dola. The left hand of this figure, that is Prambanan figure 2, must have been bent up. It is broken. The head is tilted on the right as Anchita. Shiva has a moustache also. A sword is seen tucked in at the back of the right side of the Prambanan second figure. So this entire use of shield and sword brings the martial character of the Karana.
Of course. When I think Adhoka herself had once told, in the mandalas and all, the hand gestures are not specified because they will be engaged with the weapons, indicating the martial art, and the mandalas vinyogas are for that. Even this is also like that, Dandakarechitham.
Coming to mandalas, I had done a whole performance under the name Dasha, 10. And here I had reconstructed all the 10 Akasha mandalas. It was all martial in nature. And what I did was, starting with, for the first Akash mandala, there were only two dancers. Then for the next one, 3. Like that, I increased the number of dancers. 10th mandala had 10 dancers. and I worked on a martial art combined with the Caris. And the Caris also I managed to have the offense and defense. One would be
Combining.
One will be offense, the other will be defense. This is how I managed to do a whole program of only mandalas.
Here in the comments it is mentioned that the male dancers of the Russian classical ballet perform a movement which is similar to this Dandakarechitam, which comes as a solo of the male performer.
Again indicating the martial nature of that. Then we have the Vrishchika Kuttitam. Vrishchikam charanam kritva vavapyatha nikuttitau vidhatavyau karau tattu jneyam Vrishchika Kuttitam.
When the foot is in the form of Vrishchika with the hands as Nikuttita, this is called as Vrishchika Kuttitam.
Abhinavgupta has not much to say. Prishtabhage rechita jangham uttalatalam Vrishchikopalakshitam charanam kritva, that is Vrishchika. Vavapi hasto swabahu shirasi alapallavau nikuttito, as it has been done, alapallava hasta. Paryayena vidhasyati, repeatedly doing it. Etacha vismayakasha gamana ichchadi pradhane vakyarthapinaye prayujyate. In Akasha Gamana, the aerial movements and all this can be used.
This is almost all the sculptures are the same. They have the right leg raised, but in different degrees, showing the course of the movement. And Chidambaram and Kumbakonam have Alapallava Hasta.
Even in our sculptures also many flying deities are
shown like this way. Yes.
So the movement goes tam, tak, tak, tam.
I added one Kuttanam because it helps give momentum. Vrishchika is like the tail of the scorpion, like how it goes up. I was once, when I was doing research in Annamalai University, I found at the backyard of my home, I found a scorpion, red scorpion. Somehow I was not afraid of it. I started admiring the creature, and I sat near the scorpion for a few minutes, and it was taking its tail backwards. I then thought of Bharata, and I thought, what a beautiful name you have given for taking the leg backwards, taking inspiration from nature.
Yes.
Prakriti. Yes. Prakriti is our guiding factor, and till I had admiration for that creature, it did not hurt me. But then my guardian, she just came there and she said, Thala, and then she made a show, she screamed and she took a stick and
killed it.
I felt sad for the creature because, to admire nature and make use of that nature, here you see what Anukarana means.
Yes.
It is an Anukarana, Vrishchika Kuttitam or any of the Vrishchikams is a Anukarana or Anukirtana of that little creature,
Yes.
Vrishchika. But how beautiful it is for dance. So nature helps dance.
Yes. Even in our music also, based on the nature, there are many ragas, they are named. And even in poetry, there are many meters. Shardula Vikriditam, gait of a tiger, Mattebha Vikriditam, gait of an elephant, Vrishabha Vikriditam, gait of a
Bhujangam.
Yes, Bhujanga Prayatam, movement of the serpent. Like that, so many such things. We see lot of parallels between all arts, not only in the essence or rasa, even in naming and such external details, secondary details also we have that integrated vision, and that is what should I say, that is the vision of Sanatana Dharma and Indian culture.
Here, because it's just mentioned that Vrishchika Charana has to be done, we have another interpretation where instead of Kuttanam we do Atikrantachari and lift it as Vrishchika. So this is another.
To gain a momentum for Vrishchika, there are two ways of doing. So two
the first
interpretations.
one is where we have Kuttanam and lifting. The second one is Atikranta and lifting.
It's not mentioned in the text,
Yes.
but for practical purpose, I added.
Getting momentum.
Yes.
And to show that movement in the sky, we move after Atikranta, we just keep moving on the same to show that
Yes.
This is
line.
another
It's like
way
a
of-
line.
Yes.
Vrishchika Kuttitam. In Satara, the right foot in both Devi's and Shiva's figures are in Vrishchika, raised backwards. The hands show the process of Alapallava.
Then we have the Katibhantam. Suchim Kritvapavidham cha Dakshinam Charanam Nyase Rechita cha Katir Yatra Katibhrantam Taduchyate.
When Suchi and Apavidham are performed with the right foot and the left foot respectively, with the waist in the form of Rechita, it is said to be Katibhrantam. This is what is given. In the practical reconstruction, we first do the Suchi Chari on the left. With the raising of the arms as Garuda Paksha, this is seen in the Tanjavur figure. Then when the right foot is drawn near, the hands reach the chest. When the turning on the left hand rotates while the right goes near the head as Parivartita. Yes.
as seen in Kumbakonam.
This is what is seen in Kumbakonam.
Katibhrantam tata chaiva Katibhrantam tata chaiva
Katibhrantam. In Satara Devi's figure is raised inwards, marking the beginning of Suchi Chari. The hands are bent inwards, indicating the beginning of the Garuda Paksha movement. The side is bent to the left. The left foot in Shiva's figure is in Agratala with the waist raised on left, showing the Chinna type of reeling. The secondary hands are like Dola, marking the continuity from Dandapaksha. The right main hand is near the head, indicating Parivartita, and the left is near the chest in Katakamukha, that is, to end as in Chaturashra. We have the Prambanan sculptures here. The Rechaka of the elbow, characteristic of the Garuda Paksha, is seen in the main figure. The second figure has a Urdhvajanu on the left with the side bent on the left with Dola Hasta. It is very close to the Satara Devi sculpture. Then the first figure in Prambanan seems to be having a stringed musical instrument in the hand. It has a straight left knee and the side is bent on the left. Only the left hand is seen holding the instrument. The third Prambanan figure has a clear Swastika Pada, somewhat like what is seen in the Kumbakonam. So the animation will be Tanjavur sculpture, then Satara Devi, then Prambanan second sculpture, followed by Prambanan first sculpture, then Chidambaram, then Satara Shiva, then Prambanan third sculpture and Kumbakonam sculpture. This will bring the entire movement. So after the Suchi Chari, we have the Kati Rechita. And when we finish Kati Rechita, the leg is brought in. And after that
Kati Rechita adds grace to it, but it has to be done like as though you have ball bearing
very subtle.
in the Kati. It has to be very soft, and that helps drawing the foot forward and turning, reeling.
The name says Katibhrantam.
Yes.
So in consonance with the name, we have the Rechita movement of the Kati. It helps, it is a Rechaka.
Abhinavagupta has said, Vamam dhritam apasaritam kritva parshve dakshinam padam yaset samakalam prishta paravartana kramena katim rechayet.
Kati Recha has to be there.
Is there. And then Brahmarika Vacharya Karayoscha Prayoga Vashatvena Prayoga Vasha, the hands should be well engaged. Kati Brahmana Kale, during the Kati Rechaka Kati Brahmana Tayorapi Yavartana Parivartana Karanam Yojanante Chaturashra Avasthanam Gati Parikrame Asya Talakarat Talantaralat Yati Paripurna Vishaye Prayogaha. It is the Vinyoga is also given. That has been mentioned.
It is said to be useful in completing cross-rhythmic patterns of Talagati and Yati. It may also be used for the Akara or the vowel extensions in singing.
Yes. It's more connected with
see, my Sukalasim. It connects my Sukalasim.
Exactly.
For any Akara,
The Alapana.
The Alapana, you need your whole body to move with the music.
Yes.
You can't be just standing and doing just
Griva
Rechita. So this is very useful for that.
And this is something very unique, where the movement is equated with music, rhythmic and non-rhythmic. Both have been taken care of.